Welcome back to Creepy Crawler's Garage and another daily update. We've been doing a ton of work on the TRX-Z project, so let's head on into the garage and take a look. Don't go anywhere. We're making pretty good progress with the TRX-Z project. I got a lot done on the entire truck really over the last couple days. But what you probably noticed right up front is we started adding some of the camo paint that we've been talking about doing since way back in the beginning. And as I did this, I went ahead and took some photos so you can kind of get an idea of how we put this camo paint down. With the first step being is just taping it off and laying some flat brown down as a base for the camo. And then I had some fake plants that were from an aquarium that I used for the masking of the camo. And what I did is I just started laying down. I had 3 different colors. So I had like an olive color, or I guess more like a khaki color, like an olive drab, and then the brown. And I started just laying down layers of those colors using and what I did is I just taped down the plants, those fake plants from the aquarium as a mask. I actually had to tape them down. Obviously, if I didn't tape them down and I sprayed, they would just blow away. So I had to tape them down. I would spray a color, let it dry, tape it down, spray the next, and just layered it over layer. And then at the very end, I just put down the brown to give it some definition, to give kind of a defined shape of those leaves. And then at the very, very end, I gave the whole thing a coat of the olive color just to kind of mute it all. And now the reason I did all these layers of color is now I'm wet sanding it back. So I'm gonna just kind of wet sand and wet sand and wet sand. What's gonna happen, very, very high grit, very fine grit sandpaper, by the way, very light touch. And what I'm gonna do is as I'm sanding back, I'm very much paying attention because I don't want to cut all the way through. What's going to happen is I'm going to start cutting through different layers of that paint in different areas to different depths, and it's going to give it a worn appearance. And in fact, let me flip the truck around. I think we might be able to see a little bit of what I'm talking about. Can you see this side here where you're starting to see some of the layers behind the color starting to come through? That's what I'm going to want over the whole truck or over the whole camouflage, to give it a very worn look, like it's been out and used a lot. And then, of course, what's going to go on top of here is the shop logo. So definitely going to have the shop logo here. We might do like the skull on the, well, we're going to have that bomb up front, but maybe we'll do the skull or something up front on top there. Remember up here, we're going to have a light bar, and then we're going to have a periscope type camera, so that for a video camera, for our video screen for our driver and our gunners. So there's gonna be a bunch of stuff up here. So there's gonna be a lot to go on top of this camo yet also. But I wanna give it that real worn look before I start putting all that stuff in, and before I put on the shop logos. Because so what we'll do is once I get the worn look right where I want it, I'll lay down a matte clear over top over all of it to seal it in. And then I'll start putting logos on top of it, light racks, all that kind of stuff, and weathering it. So this is going to get all weathered back, just like you see the diamond plate, and just like I started doing with the chassis. So I started weathering up and dirtying up the chassis. Oh yeah, and before I forget, I painted the cage in the back the flat brown. So that's the same flat brown I used for the base of the camo. I was going to see what you guys thought. Originally, I thought just doing this in the black, just like the truck. But then I thought, you know what, let me do the brown just to give a variation in color. So I left the missile launcher black, but I wanted to see what you guys think. Do you like the brown, or do you think it would look better like the black, like the rest of the truck? To me, it makes it, just gives some variation. It doesn't really stand out, but it just gives variation to it. Let me know what you think. Now, keep in mind, too, this is going to get very weathered up. It'll probably get chipped a little bit. The welds will get shown, all that kind of stuff. And I think I'm going to even put some stickers and things, or maybe it's got, along the way, it's got stickers thrown on it and stuff like that. Just get it real weathered up, used, looking like it's been out in an apocalyptic world for a while. But let me know if you like the brown or the black. Been working on the chassis here too, and all the under chassis and the wheels, getting them dirtied up and getting them weathered. And I tell you what, the wheel, the odd wheel out over on this side where we had the front quarter damage, I really like the way it turned out. So I think let me aim down at it, you can see better. I really like the way this wheel turned out. I think that looks really good. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use some silver to give some highlights to the black wheels. Kind of like you have the dirt and then the silver highlighting through here. I'm gonna do the same thing with the black wheels. I still need to weather up the running boards. Haven't done them yet because that's all that's holding the body on right now. Have to add a body mount yet, but we're real close, guys. This is almost done. I'm gonna add the back rack back there. There's a few things we gotta put in, and of course put in the interior, and then we gotta do the gun that's coming out the front, the 50 cal. And I think I'm gonna take the advice of a lot of people. I think the first gun we did for this was too small. I think the second gun we did was too big. So I'm actually gonna print a gun that's in the middle. That'll go here. It's gonna be on a turret. We're gonna have a guy behind it it's gonna be on a turret that's on a servo. So the guy behind it's gonna be like he's aiming the gun. Then we got to hook up the lifters for the missile launchers, and we got to hinge these back windows, but we're real close. We're real close on the TRX4. Let me know what you think about the camo and how that's coming out. Keep in mind, this is all getting very much weathered a lot more. Oh, and one last thing I wanted to talk about too before I forget, the netting. So if you put this on the window, let me pull it this way. So this netting was sent to us by D&D Sports, and I really appreciate it. This is netting for a TRX4. This is a Raptor body, not an original TRX4 body, so it doesn't fit exactly. But I also think it might be a little too tight a mesh. I think we can't see through it too well. So what I think I'm gonna go ahead and order up some loose wire mesh to put in here. Then we can rust it up and stuff, and that'll look cool. And I'm gonna use this netting for basically tie downs back here to put stuff under, like it's or you know what I might use it for even better now. I literally just thought, because I'm gonna be building a trailer back here, using it for tie downs in the trailer. That might, for netting, I guess, to hold stuff down in the trailer. So, but we're definitely going to use these, and I really appreciate them being sent out to us. Also, they've sent us out some extra bumper mounts so we can build multiple bumpers for this also, like we had talked about. So we'll be doing that as soon as they come in also. Anyways, let me know what you think about the TRX4 so far. I think it's coming along pretty cool. I like the way it looks. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. I also want to introduce you guys to BobMD. So this is the first character that we've got that's going to be living in the world that we're creating, this new series that we're creating called CCG 3000 AD. This is going to be our medical droid. So it's BobMD, or it's actually Bionic Omnibody Medical Droid. This was sent to us by Addy Monster and also named by Addy Monster. So I really appreciate that. In fact, Addy Monster sent us a bunch of stuff, which I've started painting. You can see I've already put the base down on Bob here. Basically, I primed him. And now I've painted him white because he's basically going to be white and red, but a very old looking white and red. He's going to have the red cross on him, all that kind of stuff as a medical droid. But I just have the base white coat on now. I also started painting up all the other stuff Addy Monster sent to us, like the ammo cans. So what I tried to do was give each ammo can its own personality. Like we found these out in the world, and they were owned by different factions and different people and different outsiders. So they have different paint schemes and kind of just different personalities. They each have their own personality. I also started working on the guns that Addy Monster sent over. If you remember right, these were bright and shiny silver. Basically what I did is I just gave them a coat of matte clear. And I kind of thought the paint was okay. Some of them might need a little extra painting done to them, but for the most part, the paint was okay. So I just matte cleared them, and then I added a full coat of black wash over the entire gun, and that kind of what gives it this kind of black, kind of knocked back look on the silver. I think it looks a lot better. I'm going to go in and add a few details, but for the most part, I think this is going to do the job, because if you remember right, these are basically just going to be hanging up at the back door of the shop on a gun rack for when people leave, they can grab a gun. And so as far as the camera cares or the video matters, I think this is going to do pretty well. I might add a few details, and I'm going to add a little bit more wash to bring the detail of the guns out. So basically you just add wash across it and then wipe off across the top, so the wash just stays, the black wash just stays in the deep recesses, and that just really brings out the detail of three-dimensional objects like this. But anyway, so I'll take care of that also. But I just wanted to introduce you guys mainly to BobMD, our first character that's going to be living. This character is going to live in the new shop that we're going to build. I don't know. I guess you guys probably know or understand. I'm actually going to build an entire new shop that's going to be futuristic and apocalyptic and living in this cyberpunk future world that we're going to be creating. In fact, I'm going to be creating, I've had some comments about, it's coming along great. And I'm like, well, no, we've got a long ways to go. I've got to build basically an entire cityscape. So I'm going to be building sets that is an entire city block where our trucks and things can drive down those city blocks. So we're going to be building buildings. We're going to be building, whether it's banks and food stores and grocery stores and all these kind of things, now all set in the future in a cyberpunk future, which basically what that means is it's high technology, low living standards is the best way to put it. So it's the future. So you have all this high standards, but it's a low living standard. So it's like everything's gone, well, it's become apocalyptic. So keep that in mind. Start thinking about what kind of buildings you want to see along the street, because we're going to have things like vendors and these kind of things. Start thinking about what you want to see along that city block that's outside of the shop. And then we'll be building outdoor sets also. So we will be going out on trails and that sort of thing. So I'll have to start thinking about that also. Anyways, keep that all in mind. Let me know what you think down in the comments section. Thanks for joining me again here in the garage for another daily update. And I really appreciate all the support on this series. Hit that like button if you've enjoyed this one also. Leave me the comments about what we were talking about earlier. Give me those ideas down there in the comments section. And hit that subscribe button. This series, I'm planning for this series to come out in the winter. So I'm thinking December. I'm thinking around the holiday time, actually. So around Christmas time, I want to get this series out. And so we got to build an entire world. Like we were just talking about, an entire world, futuristic world. So there's going to be a lot of episodes coming. And I'm going to need a lot of input from you guys on building that stuff. So hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any. Hit the notification bell too so you don't miss them, and they notify you when they're coming out and you don't miss them. So hit that subscribe button. But thanks again for all the support on the series. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.